Pathmonk is the AI for website conversions. With increasing online competition, over 98% of website visitors don't convert. The ability to successfully show your value proposition and support visitors in their buying journey separates you from the competition online. Pathmonk qualifies and converts leads on your website by figuring out where they are in the buying journey and influencing them in key decision moments with relevant micro experiences like case studies, intro videos, and much more. Stay relevant to your visitors and increase conversions by adding Pathmark to your website in seconds, letting the AI do all the work and increase conversions by 50% while you keep doing marketing as usual. Check us out on pathmark.com. Hey everybody, welcome back to Pathmark Presents. Today we're joined by Gabe. He's the editor and publisher at Boss Fight Books. Gabe, welcome to the show.
Rick, thanks for having me.
Glad to have you, Gabe. And let's start with something basic. Maybe we talk about Boss Fight Books a little bit. Tell us about what's the heart of what the company does. How would you describe to someone new? And if you were with a friend over coffee, how would you describe what you do?
You bet. So we publish nonfiction documentary style books about classic video games. And what that means practically is we work with different authors just about every time who are each picking usually one game or a series of games to write about and really dig into that one topic. And so sometimes they're coming at it from a very historical angle, such as they have interviewed all of the developers of the game. And so they're using those interviews to tell the story of the making of the game and give some insight into development history. Sometimes they're doing more of a deep dive appreciation of the game, taking a really close look at what it does, describing all the artistic choices that the creators of the game have made, and then doing real criticism. Sometimes they're bringing their own story with the game to the table, their own experience as a player of the game. Most of the books are kind of combining these elements in some way, just as a film documentary. Could be many different things at once, or different from others. So we've been doing this for 12 years now, and created originally just to create the kind of thing that I like to see in the world. I was really inspired by a series called 33 and a Third originally, which publishes books about different albums by artists. That focuses on music. There's been other ones in the other arts about books, about films, and that kind of thing. So the big idea was like, what if we could offer this kind of really dedicated space to the emerging art form of video games?
That's amazing. I love the concept. It's super interesting. It's like the behind the scenes. Of course, I'm one of those people
Yeah,
that will go, and when they finish a show or a movie or whatever the case may be, I just want to understand more, right? Okay, how was this
absolutely.
done, and things of that sort. But to get a little bit more technical, Gabe, and talk about the people who read those books. Was your, marketing lingo, was your ICP, was it the ideal customer profile? What do they care about? Why do they buy the books? What can they expect when they get them from you, essentially?
Right. I think that you landed on one of the biggest things of all is just that desire to know. We're just curious about things that we love. And so a lot of it is as simple as that. And so I'd say the Venn diagram is between gamers and people who read books. And not all gamers read books, and not all readers are interested in video games, but there's a lot of people in there. And particularly if you're talking about a topic that they care about. And so, you'll notice over time that there are readers who really show up for our Japanese RPG books, and then there are readers who really show up for different genres. And so, or maybe different eras, because generally we find that like the biggest nostalgia is going to be those games that you played somewhere between 10 and 20, and you're just going to be carrying those experiences with you across all the arts for your entire life. And so to get a chance to revisit something from the past with somebody else who's done a lot of thinking about it and is presenting it to you, that's kind of our ideal reader, is just this curious person who either wants to return to something that they spend a lot of time with, or just learn about something they're really curious about.
That's super interesting. And, I can relate to it. Just lately, I got into this retro gaming, kind of craze a little bit because
Yes.
I used to play with the Commodore Amiga, and back in the day, and it's like
All the way
it's
back.
just right resurfacing right now, and I got these emulators that it's pretty cool just to be able to do that. But thinking about that just it makes me think really like the evolution of gaming, and it would be super interesting to understand more about that. And now it turns out there's a company out there that making books about
Yeah.
these things, right? So that's super interesting. To stay again a little bit, as we're a marketing podcast, so I would love to understand a little bit more about, how do these people discover you, and specifically, if we can touch on the marketing channels that have become your go-to, let's say, for bringing in more, of those aficionados, if you will, or just gaming readers.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad you mentioned the retro gaming community because I think that that is a lot of the core, the kind of hardcore fans often come out of that. And when I do promote slash sell books in person, and I'm at one of these retro gaming events, that is often the biggest I'd say like the most like per capita like people in that room who would be interested in what we do. So that can be really fun. There's one called the Portland Retro Gaming Expo every year that we've done a few times now and intend to go back to. And that's so fun because it's people who are in a good mood. They're fans, they're hobbyists, and they're just kind of looking for different ways to celebrate the hobby, And so and then there we are, and maybe they already know about us and have been reading us for years, and maybe they're discovering us for the first time. And certainly, I mean, one thing that's cool about physical books and having them sometimes in bookstores or for sale in different places is like each of those is a book for sale and an advertisement for the books themselves and for the company. And some of these people are ebook readers, so they'd rather just go on our website and buy the ebook version and that kind of thing. Currently, as we're recording this, GDC, the Game Developers Conference, is happening. And every year, somebody will take a picture for me. I've been there, but I don't usually attend, of the official GDC store, which has a bunch of our books there. And so, which to me is amazing because, who doesn't want to be in front of all the most influential game developers of the world who are coming by and like looking through the newest stuff. So that can be huge. But all that said, the biggest thing is of course online, and finding people online we do it all kind of ways. The In the beginning, Kickstarter was unquestionably the main thing because we launched the whole thing with a Kickstarter, and we have done them for every book since. But since then, I would say that building up our own email list has been huge, and maybe that's the biggest thing now because, as you probably know, it's like once you have somebody on your list and they want to receive it, you've kind of captured them in a way that's so much more something you're in control of. Twitter could crash and burn and become a different thing, like it did, or any number of other like social media, any other platform could become something you don't recognize in the span of a month, and so you don't have control over so many things, but you do have control of your email list, and so that's been huge for us to get the message out to folks about new books and just building that up over time. And then beyond that, it's like we've got our Shopify store that people find. We've got occasionally we've done humble bundles, which has been really cool for getting the word out about us to new readers, and other ebook bundles like that through a company called Story Bundle. So these kind of one-off things, and then just being for sale in other people's stores has all been huge. I'm always curious. One of my first questions is when people do know about us is just like, where'd you find out? What
Hmm.
where'd you find us? What did you read? And that kind of thing.
That's super interesting to know. Like, of course, the conferences, and that's a big one, of course, because there's a community behind. We're talking about
Yeah.
retro gaming, but any gaming community. Maybe especially in retro gaming, there's that nostalgia factor, I guess, that unites people even more. But the shaking hands, the getting people together, I don't think you can beat that. But also learning about your newsletter, right? So that's and you're talking about email marketing. That's also a great way to get people essentially to one place, right? At the end of the day, you
Exactly.
want to get people to your store. Now, um, from your perspective, what are the key elements of a high converting e-commerce, right? Are there any tools, tactics, or strategies that you guys adopt, let's say, to boost sales and improve the user experience, if you will, of the user?
Sure. So, I will admit from the start that, I come at this originally from an arts background and have no marketing degrees, and everything I picked up has been on the fly
Hmm.
throughout the course of doing this business. But yeah, we've found. I mean, there's all kind of things that help. I think some of it is just can be building a moment around the both the announcement of and then the release of a book, and kind of signaling to people that this matters to us and that we are getting behind it. I think sometimes companies that don't do as well can accidentally give off a sense that they're a little bit more aloof, or that they're not fully behind their own product. And sometimes I can come out of in the arts, we like to maintain a sense of like cool and mystique, and to be like, well, this is what I do, but it's no big deal. But we don't have the we don't have the pleasure of being cool like that if we're actually in the business of selling these books to people. And to be honest, it doesn't fit my personality anyway, because I do care about this. I am passionate about this, and I want people to read our books and think about this a lot, and we work hard on it. Um, so that's one thing, is just kind of building a moment around things. Kickstarter's been big for us for that. The email list has been big for us. Currently we hold it down on Blue Sky, so that's kind of our more like day-to-day, moment to moment, giving announcements on how things are going. And then building around just some of the natural opportunities of the calendar, or of game releases. If there's a new version of a game in a series coming out, and you have a book about a game in the series, well, like here it is. It's time to remind people that not only that can they play this game, they can read all about it. And that's I have a very like evergreen content view on what we do, and I think I'm lucky that we get to move at a slower pace than a lot of the internet, because, like, yes, it can be a little harder to build a big moment around a book, because a book is just not like the thing of the moment to that always gets like people online the most excited. But over time, a book doesn't necessarily have to go away. And so when people discover our series, they're less asking what are the most recent books by this company, and more asking what are the books that I want to read most. And those could be some of our earliest books that we came out with, in our first year, or they could be the new ones. So you kind of have that, getting the ball rolling down the hill effect of, so some books wind up doing better over time than they even did early on. So you just truly, you never know in that way. And then just sales, doing sales, doing promotions, and involving the email list in that too, and just kind of letting people know that this is the way you're going to find out about a lot of the discount codes and the kind of things that we're going to be rolling out over time to get people deals on these books.
Yeah, in many ways, what I'm hearing is, stick to the basics, really, and just, the product will kind of speak for itself. I know it's in a nutshell, right? You were more,
That's
you know,
that's a good
extensive on.
distillation of it. And I think for me, unfortunately, in some ways, I have to take the easy wins where I can find them, because this is a small business, and because I'm wearing so many hats. I'm editing these books. I'm working closely with the authors. I'm doing, I'm stopping everything to work with a customer who didn't get their package. And okay, let's figure out what happened, and now let's reset it. So there's a lot of just little stuff that takes a ton of time. Yesterday, I was going through our website. finding dead links and finding ways to either taking them out or going to Wayback Machine and finding the archived version. Just the most tedious stuff. It all matters. So since it all matters, and since my time is limited, okay, well, like what? Yeah, where are those easy wins? What can I do that will get the books out to people and won't take so much time from my day?
Yeah, no, fair enough. It doesn't sound the most fun, but it's got to be done, right? So,
Yeah, and
um,
there's plenty of fun parts too, but it's like
I'm sure, I'm
you
sure,
have to do
yeah.
them all.
But maybe let's stay on that for a second, like
Yeah,
Gabe. But let's talk about you. Let's switch gears for a second here. We're coming towards the end of our time together, but I really want to touch on what's a typical workday look like for you? What are the main things you focus on? If you could just give us a glimpse into a day in the life of Gabe, if you will.
for sure. Well, every day is super different, just depending on what's on the docket. But I spend a lot of time in Google Docs. I'll say that. So we wind up passing docs back and forth, where I'll comment directly on there. In the earliest drafts with an author, it's often you're sending them an email with your broader thoughts and not getting too much into the nitty gritty. But over time, you're giving a ton of line ends. So you're putting a doc together and sending it back and forth, and then eventually it's just you and the author working together, and kind of you're able to respond to each other in real time, and as you're kind of finishing up the book together and getting it ready for copy edits and layout and publication. So that's a lot of what I do. I spend a lot of time in my Gmail inbox. That everything this is like an ad for Google all of a sudden, but that we have all the boss fight email addresses kind of funnel into me, so I can see what's going on. Even as we have a warehouse called Packful, who has all the physical books on hand, and they do some of the correspondence. But so I'm kind of it's a lot of I would say the overall job is project management and just trying to stay on top of as many things that need doing as possible, and then relying on whatever tools I can to help me keep an eye on those things, because I do not have a perfect, and I don't even think I have an above average memory. It's so things are falling through all the time unless I'm writing it down and building systems. So a lot of it is that, and then just working with different people that we contract who do really good work for us. So we've begun. We used to do photography on the colors on the covers of the books. Now we're working with artists on all the covers, which is awesome, and I think like way more. It stands out, and it's very creative, and it takes a bunch more time. And so there's back and forth with those folks. There's back and forth with our other editors who do fabulous work with us, and then as well as our layout designer. And so kind of being the point person and then handing off the job to the right person at the next stage, especially these specialists who are just really good at this particular thing that they do.
That's beautiful. The artsy side of things, I think it's super interesting, and just speaking, personally here, of course, but it really ties in with the video game just industry, because there's some masterpieces out there that even like for old games, and again,
Yeah.
you go back to whatever I'm doing at the moment, which is head deep into the retro gaming, but it's just
Totally.
it's just a kind of magical world in a way that you kind of get yourself lost into, and the art of it is just I don't know, there's something about it that I think it's lost in a way. So sounds
I feel the
sounds cool.
same way, and I've one of the animating ideas of this whole project was looking at books about video games and also coverage online about video games, and noticing just how much of it was just corporations moving money around. They are paying attention to the business of this, which totally matters. I mean, it's a valid thing to cover and to spend time on, but to me, it's just not interesting. It's not nearly as interesting as creative people making decisions, putting something of themselves into these games, finding ways to practice their craft in this medium, and then just collaboration and building something with other people. I mean, occasionally you have these one person games, but it's rare, and so you most of the time it's them figuring out how to collaborate with other people, finding out what somebody else is bringing, and then putting it together into something coherent. And that's yeah, it's really inspiring. It's not games can be this very isolated activity, uh, or they can be or playing them and making them can be extremely social and creative and interactive. So
Absolutely. Gabe, I want to thank you a lot for being on the show with us today, and I also want to give you the last word. If someone forgets everything about the interview today, what is the one thing that they should remember about the work you guys are doing?
oh gosh. uh I'm trying to reach for something that I haven't already said. Mm, so it, it was the question. It was what should people know about us?
Yeah, what is the one thing that they should remember about your company?
I think you should think of us as primarily fans and appreciators and critics and historians, and uh, look to our books for a reminder that there is no right or wrong way to talk about video games. There's no right or wrong angle to take, but rather, my hope is that if you read a bunch of our books over time, you'll kind of see the diversity of approaches, just as you see the diversity of games themselves, all these different genres, all these different eras over time, and see this big, constellation of possibility in both what games can be and what writing about games and the arts can be. So we really want to do it all.
I'm glad. I love that answer. I'm glad we made you think, Gabe. And uh, if people want to really get immersed in these stories, documentaries, books, how can they do it? Where can they go?
Yeah, so the best place is to head straight to our site, which is bossfightbooks.com. All our books are available on there. We are just getting a shipment in of the newest books and also some reprints. So we're going to have every single book will be available to you there, and you can read up on them. You can find excerpts of the books, so you can find out the kind of flavor of each book and find out if that particular one is for you. I'd love to shout out to our newest books, the ones that are just on their way to the warehouse now. One is Life is Strange by Caitlin Tremblay, and the other is Dragon Age 2 by Charlotte Reber. And both of those are doing really different things. The Life is Strange book is a very critical walkthrough of the book, pointing out what's so interesting about the game. And the other is Dragon Age 2 is telling the story of the development of the game, particularly the writing of the game, which is itself a very flawed game. And yet the writing is so strong and the vision for the game was so strong. And yet sometimes these like bigger companies can declare that it's time to ship before something is ready. And so you kind of feel the heartbreak of seeing these people working passionately on a project and then learning they just have to wrap it up real quick. Those are our latest, and then we are about to officially announce our Age of Empires book by Richard Moss, and that's very much a making of book based on tons of new interviews with the people who made that game. So we're going to be launching that very soon, and yeah, please look out for that.
Amazing. They all sound amazing. And if you want to check them out, go to bossfightbooks.com. Gabe, again, thank you for your insights. Thank you for telling us more about this amazing world of video game books. And wish you a wonderful day.
Rick, thanks so much for having me.
Of course. Bye, everyone.